Welcome to CNN 10. My name is Carl Azus. Thank you for logging on or tuning in for 10 minutes of news explained. We're starting in the European nation of Italy, where tragedy struck in the northwestern city of Genoa yesterday. It's where a major section of a highway bridge collapsed at about noontime. And though Italian officials say it's unlikely that anyone was underneath the bridge when that happened, traffic was flowing across it. Italy's Civil Protection Agency says around 30 vehicles and several heavy-duty trucks were in the affected area. And as of last night, officials had confirmed that at least 26 people had been killed and 16 people were injured. The Morandi Bridge is made out of concrete. It opened in 1968. It's part of a major highway for residents and tourists. The bridge helps link the Italian coast with the French cities to the west. One eyewitness said he thought he saw lightning hit the bridge shortly before it collapsed. Police say violent storms were partly responsible, but maintenance on the bridge was also taking place when it gave way. Authorities believe the collapse was due to a structural failure. Exactly what kind and what factors led to that will be investigated in the days ahead. 10-second trivia. The oldest continuously occupied city in the U.S. is located in what state? Virginia, Massachusetts, Florida, or New York? Dating back to a Spanish settlement in 1565, St. Augustine, Florida holds this record. Today, several counties in the state of Florida are under a state of emergency because of a red tide algae bloom. What the state of emergency does is speed up money to areas that are affected by the problem. What the problem is, a red tide brings danger to marine and human life. Fast-growing colonies of a certain type of algae often turn the water red. Normally, the blooms that occur off the coast of Florida start in October and end during the winter, but not this one. It's lasted for 9 months. When the algae die, they release toxins that have killed fish, sea turtles, manatees, and other animals. And when the toxins have been carried inland by the wind, they've caused respiratory problems for people in several counties. They're being told not to swim in the water, breathe the air, or eat seafood from wherever red tides have been occurring. What's to blame for the red tide? NASA says Hurricane Irma, which struck last September, might have moved inland nutrients to coastal waters, helping the algae to grow. That also happened in 2006, the year after Hurricane Katrina struck in the Gulf of Mexico. Some scientists are also trying to find out if land development, farming, and water use might have an impact on the algae.
Normally, a voyage like this is filled with relaxed anticipation. But these days, a trip off of Florida's Gulf Coast brings only boatfuls of dread. Toxic algae is blooming like mad here, and you can see and smell the result everywhere, onshore and off. A dolphin sighting that would normally inspire wonder,
oh, there's two right there,
now only makes you worry.
Whoa, there he is, he's right here. Look at this.
Wow, you can really feel it in your nostrils and your sinuses in the back of your throat. It's like a mild pepper spray when this algae gets up in the air. And so if we can feel that discomfort, you gotta wonder what it's like to be a dolphin in a red tide like this. Oh, there he is. Their blowhole is just inches beneath the surface. And a visit to the marine biologist at Florida Gulf Coast University is like a sad visit to the morgue. These are just two of the more than 400 sea turtles found in this area alone. This is the villain right here. This is the red tide.
Yeah, and this one down here on the bottom.
Yeah.
You have a natural phenomenon called red tide, as Mike said, but you have the nitrogen then coming in and giving it a booster shot.
And now these scientists from Florida Gulf Coast University are testing water up to 20 miles offshore, looking for the definitive proof that America's sugar habit is also making red tides worse. You're looking for the smoking gun.
I'm looking for smoking gun.
Back on a beach that should be full of tourists, I find only cleanup crews, many of them unpaid volunteers.
You live in Tennessee?
Absolutely, suburban.
Did you come out here just to do this?
Absolutely.
You're kidding, really?
I did, yeah.
Have you seen red tides this bad before?
I have not.
Video game addiction is an issue that's been debated in medical circles for years. Now, the World Health Organization is recognizing gaming disorder as a mental health condition. The medical branch of the United Nations has included this in the 11th edition of its International Classification of Diseases. And a member of the WHO says by classifying gaming disorder, medical professionals will become more aware of it, and people who suffer from its conditions can get the help they need. Not everyone agrees that gaming disorder should be listed as a mental health condition, though, or that enough research has been done to do it. One licensed psychologist in Texas said this could lead to behaviors like watching too much football or doing too much research to be listed as sicknesses. But many researchers agree that gaming addiction should be more closely investigated.
I pretty much started playing video games like seriously in like 5th grade. My amount of use got like 5th grade, 6th grade, and then like 7th grade, and then 8th grade, and like 9th grade it just went straight up. That's when my life really started deteriorating.
He was basically online all the time, every waking moment. And he would refuse to go to school. He wouldn't eat with us. He lost weight. He was up all night.
And like any mom, Karen Porter became increasingly concerned about her 16-year-old son, Evan. But she didn't know just how serious the problem was. Now the World Health Organization is, for the first time, calling gaming disorder a mental health condition.
It should be clearly defined behavioral pattern which is of such intensity and of such nature that it takes precedence of other activities which have been important for an individual in the past.
That was Evan, to a T. Nothing was more important than his ability to get online and game. Overwatch, Team Fortress 2, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, games that are designed to keep you playing for hours.
I think it's really helpful to understand that once an addictive process takes hold of someone, they do lose control. Their impulse to just go online and game and do whatever else they want to do online, that is stronger than whatever it is they tell themselves they should be doing.
Hillary Cash is co-founder of Restart, an inpatient treatment program for video game addicts. It's outside of Seattle and about as far away as you can get from screens. Picturesque, peaceful, and most importantly, unplugged.
It's a pretty big difference, like growing up from screens to on screen all night to no screens.
What happens here at Restart is, no surprise, lots of therapy, time outdoors, and an emphasis on interpersonal interactions.
We're social animals, and we actually need to be physically present with one another, face to face, where we can see and hear and touch and smell each other.
It's still early days for Restart. They've graduated 19 adolescents in the last year and a half. But here's the problem. The real world is still filled with triggers for gaming addicts.
Alcoholic, you know that he can't ever have alcohol again. Someone who's addicted to cocaine can't ever have cocaine again. But a technology addict, I mean, it'd be pretty hard to live without technology.
Guinness World Record you probably didn't know about. Most people playing hopscotch at the same time. It was set by 621 folks at a Georgia elementary school a few years ago, but this attempt was carried out by more than 700 people at a church in New York State, and it could be the new high bar. The church's senior minister said members were trying to bring people together, and though some wondered if they even remembered how to play hopscotch, they did. You just put your best foot forward. It's not easy to get a leg up on so much competition, though, and a lot of squares may not want to play. But with 700 people hopping to it, this record attempt was a shoo-in, and though it's time for us to bounce, a new broadcast of CNN 10 is just a hop, skip, and a jump away, y'all. I'm Carl Azus.